We're coming into Little Narrows here, and the wind is just down to a zephyr. Although I can see the Canadian flag on the lee shore is flapping. And it looks like we will have basically kind of a beam to a close reach, what wind we'll have. So that's good. My only concern here is just getting past that cable ferry. The other thing is whether or not there's any current in there. When I came through here 2 days ago, I didn't see any. There wasn't really any current to speak of because there's a couple of buoys here and I didn't see any current. Maybe a slight bit of ferrocurrent, hard to say. Sorry to disturb you guys. Got the green light, good. Come on, wind.
Sailing vessel approaching Little Narrows Ferry. Do you have a copy there?
Oh, this is sail vessel Ruth Avery, over.
Just wanted to let you know you're free to go, sir.
Roger that, thank you. Should be through in a little bit. I'm going kind of slow here.
No problem. Thank you. Out.
Past his cable at least. Go anchor that in there. Oh, there's a house there tucked in the woods. We're around that point. Still be able to watch the ferry go back and forth all day. That'll be fun. Well, it's time to pick up and sail back to Baddeck for restock in preparation for departing the lakes. Alright, we're sternboarding here. But presently I'm in irons, in these light and fluky winds. And here comes a puff. First order of business is just to get some way on her, and she's slow to accelerate under just the mainsail. I need to get some speed so that the rudder will bite. Now I have to get her to bear away, which is also sometimes difficult under just the main alone because the center of effort is fairly far aft. So the rudder is fighting the imbalance as well as trying to turn the boat. And just put her through a jibe here, and we are finally pointed in the right direction and on our way back to the deck. Well, it's Thursday, October 3rd. And that is the entrance to the Great Baddeck Channel, which leads back out into the ocean, which is would be a pretty, for the most part, a pretty wide and easy passage, except for the tidal currents can be quite strong in here, especially at the entrance. So that's what's causing me anxiety, and what makes this a tricky place for an engineless boat once again. Well, that looks like a pretty nice house. It's basically like having a castle up on the hill. So that back there is Baddeck. So we just departed Baddeck about an hour ago. And the good thing I found is there's generally more wind on the lake during the daytime than what's on the weather map. The weather map's only showing about 4 knots, 5 knots. We got a bit more than that. We got about 6 or 7 knots, so I guess it's fairly accurate. Now, according to the tide tables, we should have about slack current right now. Maybe slightly favorable. And well, I don't know if there's normally much current out here, but slightly favorable. Maybe. Yeah, it's pretty much slack. There's pretty much no current. Well, October in Nova Scotia, and I got my shirt off, and I'm comfortable. It's nice and warm today. So, coming into Big Harbor here, I'm going to go anchor here. I'm not going to push it. I thought maybe trying to get to Otter Island, but at least as of this morning, the weather maps are showing just these light winds all day and then diminishing to nothing overnight. And then same thing tomorrow southwest, but knock knock on wood, showing a little more strength. Wow, once again, another breathtaking anchorage. Well, another lovely spot. And actually, Big Harbor is up in there. The anchorage is up in there. But I'm not going to go all the way up in there, because this is just a stopover. So I had a little bit of excitement. Went to drop my anchor, and I thought I could see rocks in the water. And then I thought, well, maybe I'm just seeing reflections. But then I could hear my anchor chain grousing and rumbling. So, and there's nothing marked there, nothing on the chart. So I just picked up and drifted back a bit. But I read on the cruising guide that there was a pier that was here, and so the remnants of it are still sitting there on the bottom. So that's what I was almost anchored on. So as usual in these more remote parts, not everything's marked on the chart, and there's few navigational aids. There's no buoy or anything marking it. Just picked up, and it's about 9:30 in the morning, and the best of my estimates is that the current will be slack between about 12 and 1. So we should have current ahead of us once we get out here, so we should be fighting current for a couple of hours. And hopefully if we get it right, it'll be slack right when we get up to the Seal Island Bridge, and then a little bit of fair current going out through the cut. That all remains to be seen. What has me so worried here is not only the strength of the currents around the Seal Island Bridge in the entrance by Noir Point, where it runs over 6 knots, but that I've come across conflicting sources on current predictions. In particular, this article in Ocean Navigator warns that the current tables are notoriously inaccurate, and they provide a formula for gauging what the current will be based on the tide level. The problem is I'm having trouble getting that all to jive with the current tables, which are published by the Canadian government. So according to the tables for today, Friday, 4th of October, we should have a slack current just before 1 p.m. turning fair. Wow, this is good. Picked up some nice wind out here. It definitely looks like we do have current running against us. And I just checked the chart. It shoals up to about 50 feet here, as opposed to about 100 to 150. So that makes sense that we're seeing more current right here. There's a yacht anchored over there. You can barely see him against the trees. And it looks like a wishbone schooner, so kind of like a Freedom 40, but it's clearly a metal hull. It looks like an aluminum hull, so really kind of a high latitudes voyaging machine there. Well, approaching the Seal Island Bridge now, so this is the first test point. I've decided to trust the current tables published by the Canadian government. Are they correct? I'm going to find out soon. Consider supporting this channel by becoming a patron. As a patron, you will be able to view my videos free of ads. You will also be able to leave comments, ask questions, and message me directly. You can become a patron for as little as $5 a month.